through 4 qualifier events. We've seen these 16 teams make it here. 4 of them, of course, auto-qualifying from last season, the King Crabs, Red Rockets, Ivy League, and the Stone Golems. And the Stone Golems are the host here. As you can see, their beautiful stadium, the Coliseum, and today it's filled with sand for the Sand Moguls, the first event of Season 2 here, as we begin this brand new season of Quack's Marble Clash. I'm, of course, the titular Quack, and I'm excited to present this brand new season, but first we begin with a returning event from last season, the Sand Moguls. It's a very chaotic race, of course, just a traditional heats of 4 event, and you can see this very long and ruffled track with lots of bumps, lots of frayed walls, so it's really going to be a tough one for each of these marbles to make it down the course, but the Malamax will be demonstrating for the first time in the main league this season. And they are off. It's that one marble on the top side, a bit ahead, but it's going very close, and oh, look at that move at the end. What a move there by Opto, I believe it was, who made it just at the end to win this heat amongst their teammates. But you can see that one marble going to the near side didn't have nearly as much speed. That's evidently not the stronger line. We'll have to see how the main league teams can learn from this one, but what a photo finish right at the end there. It's such a comeback, and if the racing in this event is anything like that, then we're in for a real treat. But you can see how all those marbles bumped against the wall, and Opto did not, and that's really what gave them that victory. But we'll have to see how that compares to the main league teams. But now the Stone Golems fans ecstatic to see their team compete in their home stadium for the first time, and they're in this first heat with their reserve Mecha, as well as Bloom, Bagel, and Leopard for the Pollen Puffs, Loaves of Bread, and the Stingrays. But now we are off as the Stingrays with a narrow lead over the Stone Golems, but they bump into the wall, and Bagel, the Loaves of Bread, will assume their spot in the advancement zone. Disappointing for Mecha not being able to advance in their home stadium here. The Pollen Puffs looked like they had an advancing spot, but they rubbed against the wall a little too much, and we're seeing how bumping against the wall can really be the marbles' undoing. But the Stingrays, the reserve Leopard, getting a very respectable performance here. Medalist in this event before, and they will be winning here with a 3.37 time. We'll see how that compares to the rest of the times in the next heat. But now, speaking of the next heat, we move on with the Checkmates, Team Pixie, Ivy League, and Rose Rollers. Bishop, gold medalists in this event last season, so a lot of pressure on them, but we'll have to see how they perform here. And they're off. It's the Rose Rollers. Ultimate, they bump into the wall, and now it's the Ivy League, and Team Pixie will make a comeback right at the end to take that advancing spot. It looked like the Checkmates were going to be moving on, but Bishop, gold medalist in this event last season, will not be moving on past the first round. What a surprise, but what a massive lead for Patina, the reserve of the Ivy League, really making a name for themselves there with a humongous victory, and the fans are very happy about that one. Meanwhile, the Rose Rollers were way behind. You can see they don't even appear on screen until very late into the video, and they were well behind Bishop of the Checkmates. A disappointing time for them, but it's the Ivy League and Team Pixie who will be moving on to the next round. But now Shelby, the reserve of the Snappy Turtles, as well as Lumen of the City Lights, Terran of the Flying Saucers, and Fuselage of the Red Rockets, a medalist in this event last season. And they are off. It's the Red Rockets with a narrow lead over Lumen, who now takes it, and they will be the top 2 to advance. And Shelby, who won this event in the qualifiers, coming across very far behind the rest of the field. Disappointing for them. The Flying Saucers, another team who they haven't had quite as many strong performances in this event. Well, they did win this event in the B-League last season, but in the qualifiers they weren't quite as strong, and they weren't quite as strong here either. But you can see Lumen of the City Lights getting just a narrow victory over the Red Rockets, but for that brand new team making it to the main league for the first time, the City Lights have to be pleased about that one, winning their first heat. And the Red Rockets, of course, going back and advancing once again. But now the Soaring Skies, Slush Rush, Flashbangs, and King Crabs reigning champions here, as well as Spark, who won this event in the qualifiers, and Flurry, who's a brand new marble for the Slush Rush. And they're off. It's Flurry with a narrow lead over Yeti, but it's very close. And here comes Spark, who will just try and take that second place spot. I have no idea who made it for that one. That was a very close finish down to the line. It looked like Yeti had it, but they kept bumping into the near side. And look at that, oh, that comeback right at the end by Spark. Those are the kind of skills that can win this event, at least in the qualifiers. We'll see if it's enough to advance here, and I don't think it will be. By a fraction of a second, by 200ths of a second, Yeti will be moving on to the semifinals, as well as Flurry, the reserve of the Slush Rush, doing a great job here. But Soaring Skies disappointing, not really able to advance here, but they will still at least take 12th place here, better than a few marbles. Mecha, the reserve of the Stone Golems, unfortunate, only gained 14th, and Spark, unsurprisingly, getting best of the rest with that photo finish. But now we move on to the semifinals of the Red Rockets, Loaves of Bread, Ivy League, and Slush Rush. Pretty stacked heat here with a lot of great teams and great marbles. And we are off. It's the Slush Rush with a bit of a lead over the Red Rockets, but now it's everyone's jumbling up, and it will be the Red Rockets and Ivy League moving on to the final with Fuselage and Patina. That was really a comeback from those two. There was a point where neither of them were in the advancement zone, right there, where Bagel looked like they had the lead, and then they kept bumping into the wall, and then they stumbled right there, almost coming to a complete stop. At least they won't get a DNF, but they will definitely not be beating many people with a time like that. The Red Rockets fans, though, pleased about that. They're going to go back to the final and try to get another medal in this event as they did last season. And Slash Rush have to be disappointed. They were ahead for so long, but they just fell short of patina of the Ivy League, and that means the Ivy League will have a chance to get a medal here, maybe even their first gold medal. But now, for the semifinal 2, the City Lights, King Crabs, Stingrays, and Team Pixie. We'll have to see how these teams fare compared to the first semifinal. And their offense, Team Pixie, oh, they bumped into the wall, and now it's the King Crabs with the narrow lead over the Stingrays, but the City Lights will make a comeback right at the end. What a move there. The King Crabs, another time where they looked like they had it. We saw that in the first, in their heat, in Heat 4, where they had a bit of a gap, but they kept bumping into the wall, and this time they won't be quite as fortunate to move on a photo finish. This time, Lumen of the City Lights will take advantage of that spot, and they will be moving on alongside Leopard of the Stingrays, which means we're going to have several unfamiliar faces in the final, especially Lumen of the City Lights, really making a name for themselves here in their first main league event, for the City Lights as well. And now looking at it, it's Flurry the Slush Rush getting a decent 5th place, Yeti the King Crabs coming away with 6th. But now we move on to the final, the Ivy League, Stingrays, City Lights, and Red Rockets. Those first 3 teams, none of them have won a gold medal yet, despite the Stingrays and Ivy League being such historic teams, but now they are off. It's the City Lights with a narrow lead over Patina, but it's a drag race at the end, and the Ivy League will be taking the first gold medal of the season and the first gold medal of their careers. Despite an overall podium last season, they did not get a gold medal until now, but it looks like Fuselage of the Red Rockets will become the 2-time bronze medalist in Sand Moguls, and Lumen of the City Lights doing a very respectable job to get a silver medal in the City Lights' first ever main league event. Disappointing for Leopard of the Stingrays, though. They will get another strong performance as they did last season in this event, but it's only going to be 4th place, last in this final. But the Ivy League fans are very happy about that, winning this first event of the season, and they look Bettina looks very pleased to be standing atop that podium alongside the City Lights and Red Rockets. That's a familiar rivalry there, the Ivy League and Red Rockets, but it continues on into this season. And looking at the results there, Bettina's Ivy League didn't have the fastest times throughout most of it, but they had the fast enough times. And of course, this event, not always about times. They can vary wildly between the different heats, but they did have the most consistent times, I suppose. But the Ivy League will be starting off the season with a gold medal and on top of the standings. Surprising for the Snapping Turtles on the opposite end, usually a more solid team, but we'll have to see as we head to the event 2, balancing. So stay tuned, and thank you for watching.